time of recording this, we are at pick 97 in the third round of the 2022 NFL draft. So at this point, I don't see a situation in which the Vikings get back in. So we can say the Vikings are probably most likely officially done for today. So it was an eventful start to round number 2. So we, of course, with the trade with the Lions, we had 34. And then to make matters even more crazy with the whole trading within division thing, we traded pick number 34 to the Packers of all teams. They came up and they got Christian Watson out of NDSU, wide receiver. We picked up picks number 53 and 59 from them. I really like the value. It sucks giving another divisional team a good wide receiver prospect. It hurts bad. But what we got for that was pretty incredible to me.
Yeah.
So as the picks, they keep on rolling. We roll around pick number 42. And the Vikings make a trade up the board with the Colts. We give them 53, 77, and 195. And we get pick number 42 and 122. We picked up a fourth rounder from the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And we took pick number 42, and we drafted a guy that we all wanted at 32. We all wanted at 34. And we got him at 42 in Andrew Booth Jr.
Let's go.
Out of Clemson. It was a huge pick. And honestly, it kind of, with all this stuff that Kwesi did there, it kind of turned the feelings around about the draft, right? After last night, everyone's like, I love Lewis Cine. I think he's going to be a good player. Pass on Hamilton, made an unfair trade for us. But after this, we made a couple other trades, picked up some more value, and got the guy we wanted anyway. So I think that really was the start of what kind of turned the draft around. What happened later, of course, you know how it is. Once you kind of get late to third round, things happen. Players are viewed differently on each people's boards. And it got kind of messy. There's people with different opinions now. But overall, I don't think anybody can argue with Booth at pick number 42. That was nice.
Yeah.
Pick number 59 from the Packers, we ended up taking Ed Ingram, offensive guard out of LSU. And then at pick number 66, the second pick in the third round, we took Brian Asamoah, a linebacker out of Oklahoma, a guy I really liked in the draft process when we kind of did those things. So we got some good value. We covered some positions of need. We both wanted Nakobe Dean. Obviously, he fell all the way to 83 at the Eagles due to medical concerns with surgery on his pec/shoulder. It is what it is there. But we were talking about maybe Malik Willis, who also fell past that pick, went to Tennessee. Did he go to Tennessee? He went to Tennessee. Where did he end up?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yep, he went to Tennessee. Desmond Ridder went earlier. It was crazy. But anyway, we got the guys we got with Andrew Booth, Ed Ingram, and Brian Asamoah. Jamie, what are your thoughts on rounds number 2 and 3?
Whoo! That shit was crazy. I mean, right off the bat, like you said, Kwesi. That shit was Kwesi. Right off the bat, we traded 34 for 53 and 59 with Green Bay. Like you said, that was obviously back-to-back rounds, and we traded within the division, especially after all the fans said stuff about the Lions, and that's nothing compared to the Packers. Yeah, they picked Christian Watson, right? That's a receiver.
Yep.
I was okay with it. I'm not as big on Christian Watson as a lot of other people. So I was like, all right, I can live with that. It's better than them having any of those other receivers. But to be able to get an extra second round out of that, I was ecstatic. I mean, not just that, but to go to 53 and 59, like you mentioned, and then trade back from 53 to 42, and we get Andrew Booth, and then we just gave up a 77, and then we also received that 122 in the fourth round. So, I mean, if you look at the whole overall picture, you look at the big picture, we traded, what was it? So we traded the 12th pick, the 46th pick for the 32nd, the 42nd, the 59th, and the 66th. And then we lost the 77th, and then we got a 122. So it makes that whole trade scenario look way better. And then the fact that we traded back up and only lost that draft capital, and we got Andrew Booth, the guy that we wanted at 34 anyways, and we got an extra second for him, I think that's like best case scenario. And now, we added a couple players that we wouldn't have even been able to probably get if we would have stayed pat in the entire draft. So we added two good value players that weren't even going to probably be there for us later on or whatever.
Yeah. Really it strengthens the secondary for sure. Those two guys are going to do wonders. The other picks, obviously you feel like there might be a little bit of a reach. Ingram, I think people said they had like a late third or late third round grade on him. And then Brian Asamoah, maybe half a round too early. But,
maybe.
Again, it all depends on the board of Kwesi and what he saw. And they covered positions of need. So, and neither of them have to come in and start right away. They can both be developmental guys. And that's kind of what you get near the end of the second and third round.
I think at the end of the second round and in the third round, players are popping up all over the place. I mean, there was like 8 wide receivers that were probably got like 5th round grades going in the second round there. So it's just what happens. You kind of, after the second round, earlier in the second round, I think it kind of goes all over the place. I don't think people's grades stick with it. I mean, these guys, at the end of the day, each NFL team puts in insane amount of work and has crazy amount of professionals that dig into all this stuff. And I don't care what anyone says, they're going to have a lot better idea of these players than any single person or whatever,
For sure.
So, but at the very least, I mean, at least we got, like with Ed Ingram, we got a guy that still was one of the better offensive guards actually in this draft. Yeah, he might have got like maybe a late third round grade by a lot of people, but I mean, we still got a good. It's not like we reached super far. I mean, we saw some players come off the board that were reached really far. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, I wish I wanted a Kobe Dean at one of those picks or whatever, but there's obvious reasons why he dropped. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought it made up for the first round, in my opinion, for sure. And it made that trade not look nearly as bad, because without pick 34 that we got from the Lions, we wouldn't have been able to make that trade with the Packers, and then ended up trading up for Booth and still getting our guy in Booth while also getting that second rounder. So
for sure. Yeah. So anyway, let's take a little bit of time and let's look into these picks a little bit. Let's dig deeper into some of the statistics.
Yeah, starting with the guy that we all wanted, the ball hawk, one of the guy that plays cornerback like a wide receiver, Andrew Booth.
Andrew Booth. So looking at his most recent season at Clemson, 11 games played, 26 solo tackles, 11 assists, 37 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, no sacks, 3 interceptions, and then, of course, 5 pass defense, as well as that's it. But anyway, so, man, and he's just a freak athlete, too. One of the things that really jumped out, he had the highlight reel, one-handed twisting interception, which was absolutely nuts. Everybody that you talk to at Clemson raves about the kid. Like I said, a lot of people thought he was going to be a first-round pick, obviously falling.
I mean, we've seen him all the way up to 12. We've seen him coming up to us at 12 in the first round.
Right.
Or even earlier, I think.
Big-time mock drafts had that. And getting him where we got him, pick number 42, that's great value for a player of this caliber. And I'm excited. This is going to shore up the secondary. You're going to have Patrick Peterson, Cameron Dantzler, and Andrew Booth all competing for time.
Plus, you got Sign back there now, or Seen.
Oh, for sure. I'm super excited about this one. We got a stud. We got a stud at great value. Looking over his draft profile, they had him at a 6.34 prospect grade on NFL.com. Eventually be plus starter. Next gen stat 84 good. Looking at his measurables: 6 foot, 194, 31.5 inch arms, 9 3/8 inch hands. That's some freakish athleticism there, man. I like to see it. Did he not? Yeah,
so he didn't run the combine,
he was dealing with some injuries, I believe.
Yeah. So he didn't, and that's the reason why they think he dropped, was injury concerns. But yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be pretty fast and everything, so he's supposed to be pretty athletic. But I mean, hey, it's a blessing for us that that happened and stuff.
And so, I like the comparison. Jack Rabbit Jenkins was a very good player from back in the not back in the day. Wasn't that long ago.
It's back in the day for me,
right?
For us.
But anyway, so looking at his strengths here. So 5-star background with 5-star measurables. Feet are very agile and twitchy. Slides and slows release from press. Strength to maintain extended jab through release. Back pedal is smooth and fast, consistently competitive and urgent in his coverage. better playmaking talent than ball production would indicate, awareness to read and overlap from zone, burst and length help him close out at catch point, ball judgment and tackling is top notch, maintains positioning and contorts to challenge throws, a downhill striker. And you see all that when you watch his highlight tape, for sure.
Yeah. One thing that stands out immediately while watching his highlights or anything, any tape, is just how he can adjust himself to the ball like a wide receiver. And he just has that skill set, I think, that you see in cornerbacks that become just good at getting interceptions and stuff. And it's just one of those things. Maybe you can teach it, but it's very in like an instinct, I feel like. And it's something that he has. And from when I watch him, I kind of thought of is it Trevon Diggs, right?
Yeah.
Trevon Diggs. Yeah. That's kind of the vibe I got from him. So
right. Let's look through his weaknesses here. Split high with slight stall in his hips when matching lateral break points. Will need to dial back physical hands beyond the line of scrimmage. Of course, we've seen Xavier Rhodes, so we know that can be a problem. False steps and inefficiencies in coverage moments. Gets prematurely turned by a quality route runner, unable to generate instant acceleration from transitions, can be too anticipatory and overreactive, needs better eye balance from zone and off-man coverage, tackling lacks control at times. So obviously, a lot of these guys coming out of college are going to have weaknesses. Corner is one of the hardest positions to transfer from the college to the NFL.
For sure.
So it's going to take a little bit of work, but man, I think
first round talent, mid second, and we got a second rounder. So
yeah, man. But we both were pumped when we saw this pick go through. Andrew Booth, Minnesota Vikings, second round pick. Let's go. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Jumping into our next pick, Ed Ingram. Now, of course, with offensive linemen, you're not going to find a ton of stats. So couldn't find anything about sacks allowed, anything like that. We found a few PFF grades we'll get into a little bit later here. But the measurables you're looking at 6'3", 6'3¼ inches, 307 pounds, 10-inch hands, 33 5/8-inch arms. 40-yard dash time was 5:02 for a big dude.
Fantastic.
Pretty impressive. I believe he had an 83.6 PFF pass blocking, or 82.6, I believe it was.
Yeah,
pass blocking.
And we're talking
PFF,
about SEC,
right? Which I think is a huge reason why he was drafted as high as he was by the Vikings. Is they love that pass blocking grade. Our offensive line is struggling in pass blocking as it is in the past. So I really do think that is a big reason for the leap up that he took. A lot to like on the field, a lot to like with the guy. I mean, when I watch his highlight tapes, I had a few issues with maybe his feet movement. Maybe I felt like he leaned a little bit too much, maybe got lazy every now and then, but he's got good size. And if he can develop into a pure pass blocker, maybe get some run blocking prowess as well, it could work out.
Hey, and on top of that, it's a position of need. I mean, outside of cornerback, I would say the interior lineman was the second biggest. I know we picked a lot of guys in free agency, but it's very depth signings.
Yeah.
And, we have Wyatt Davis, and we are excited in Wyatt Davis, but we don't know for sure if he's going to be the for sure thing. Nobody else even get any time last year. So bringing in Ingram and having them compete for that spot. I mean, at least now we got we got a lot of depth there. We're kind of lucky they were spoiled there. And hopefully we can, if one of those guys, all we need is one of these guys to be that person. Our whole offensive line, we got everything. We're just missing that guard. And the center is still, up for debate. But
honestly, tackles are set. Anything else is up for discussion. As much as I think Ezra Cleveland has played well, if they think one of these guys is going to be better, then one of the guys be better.
That is true.
You could potentially replace him. So my thing with the offensive line, get as much quality talent in the building as possible. Let them compete, pick the best 5 and go.
Yeah. You got to love to bring in another body that we need. And after we really attacked need and hit some best player available at the same time in this draft. So
for sure. So let's take a look. Obviously, we talked about his size and weight. They had him at a 6.1 prospect grade, good backup with potential to develop into a starter. If that's the case, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll take that, though.
Obviously, we talked about the 5:02 40-yard dash. Look at his other stats. Pretty impressive. Let's get into strengths and weaknesses. They had him projected as a round 5. Obviously, taking him round 2, whatever. So strengths.
A lot of other people had him going in 2 to 3 too.
Right.
So he was kind of one of those guys.
Yeah. Strengths, starting experience playing both guard spots, which is huge, especially if you want that open competition. Broad shoulders with large hands, displaces the gap on down blocks with hardy shoves, able to generate quality pop on the move, upper body twitch to smack a gap shooter, choppy feet setting the rush, instincts to smell a rat with blitzes and twists, snaps off twister, sending him cleanly to the left tackle, fires a stiff right jab into the rusher's sternum, firm inside and outside hands to strengthen his edge and pass protection. So obviously that's the biggest thing with him is pass protection. He had very high pass protection grade. So a lot of these strengths, this is what this offensive line has been lacking, and this is what you like to see. This is what we need to add.
Yeah, I mean, we keep going after these guys that are excel at pass or rush blocking,
which is
always emphasis at
old scheme.
Yeah, old scheme, and it's good, and it's definitely old scheme now with Kevin O'Connell in the mix. But we need some pass blocking. We need to protect Kirk. I think Kirk actually does pretty good under pressure, but he can't roll out when he's under pressure, and he doesn't extend plays the best. And the best thing we can do to have him succeed the best he can is to give him as much time as possible. And that's why I think we need more guys that are better at the pass protection than rush protection.
Yep. Take a look through weakness here. Lacks desired girth through thighs and calves, disconnected movement between upper and lower body. As I kind of said, I feel like sometimes he leans a little bit. Tight hips prevent desired lift into the block, tardy in adjustments and finding position for blocks in second level. Backside blocks take on play side leakage, hand slide off block rather than stick and sustain. Below average reaction movements in protection. A lot of these things are kind of what I saw when I was watching his tape, which made me drop him quite a bit. But man, it's hard to it's hard to not notice just the pure size is the biggest thing for me, and the pass blocking prowess. And you take a shot, like I said, get as many guys in there as possible, let them compete, and see which one you go with.
So, yeah, I mean, any depth. I mean, you could look at it as kind of. I think it's more than a depth. I mean, there's a lot of people who have him a lot higher on their board than NFL.com. So
yeah, for sure. So anyway. Jumping into our third round pick, number 66, a guy, when we went over our linebackers in our video, I really, really like this guy. Brian Asamoah, the second out of Oklahoma. Looking at his stats from this past season, played in 12 games, 56 solo tackles, 24 assists, 80 total, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles. The thing to me with Brian Asamoah that I noticed when I watched him is just he is everywhere on the field. You always see him. He's flying around. He's a little undersized. We'll kind of get into in the next portion of this. But man, everything I saw, high motor player, love to hit, love to fly around. I think he's gonna fit in well. I like him. I liked him a lot. I think he was my number. He was either my number 4 or 5 linebacker.
It was your number 4.
My number 4.
So you picked him as a number 4 linebacker in this draft.
Yeah, so I really liked him. I thought he had a very high ceiling. I think it's going to be fun to watch what he does on this defense. As Jamie knows, I was pumped when we made the pick.
Yeah, I agree. Like we mentioned before, I was on the Kobe Dean bandwagon, but obviously all these teams saw something I didn't. I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling he'll end up being a great player for the Eagles. But I did like this pick, and I thought, like you said, he does run. He runs sideline to sideline. I think he's a good tackler. Based on the tape that we watched and the highlights, I saw good pass rushing, and I also saw some pretty decent coverage. You do see he had not this year, but the year before, he had that interception and 4 pass defenses. So, and I think we're about to go into his combine stuff here.
Yep, we'll jump into that.
Yeah, we'll jump into that. So right off the bat, so around a 4.56, which is definitely a very solid 40 for someone his size.
At 6 foot 226.
Yeah.
226. 32 5/8 arms, 10-inch hands,
36.5 vert.
Solid,
24 broad.
Solid. The NFL.com gave him a 6.13 prospect grade, good backup with potential to develop into a starter. You love to see it. Yeah, man. I just, like I said, I loved everything I saw about him. Let's see what they had for strengths and weaknesses here. Projected in the 3rd to 4th rounds. We got him pretty much in projections. I don't know who that NFL comparison is. If somebody wants to let me know in the comments, that would be great. Strength, does the heavy lifting as most of his tackles were solo efforts, quick reads and reacts in early stages of the rep, reads his keys and recognizes misdirection in the run game, full throttle trigger to disrupt blocking scheme, very good sideline to sideline chase speed, projectable traits and flashes as a playmaker, movement is athletic and easy in coverage, able to expand coverage area from zone, should shine as a kick and punt cover talent on special teams. Third round picks a lot of times will play special teams. I love everything I read about there. It just gets me excited for this guy even more.
Yeah, and then I mean, not to mention that he's going into a linebacker group that we have massive depth on, and a lot of high potential in guys like Troy Dye and Chaz Surratt and what's the other guys? Blake Lynch.
Yep.
Lynch. Obviously, we got Hicks and
Kendricks, of course.
Kendricks, of course. So yeah, he's going into all these. So the cool thing about that is like you're just getting that depth. I mean, we have 4 young guys that have potential to turn into a starter, and we just need one of them to do it. And now we have another guy. And I would say the same thing with Ed Ingram. And I think Booth is that cornerback that we're looking for, and which is also depth because we already do have. He'll be a guy that will replace Peterson eventually, but we do have Peterson and we do have Cameron Dantzler. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man. Let's take a quick run through those weaknesses. Built like a puffed up box safety, inefficient movement and false steps are part of the package. Needs to play with control and patience in scrape mode. Lacks strength to prevent being washed out of run fits. Takes inconsistent angles to tackle. High entry point into contact leads to broken tackles. Occasional coverage busts can be frustrating. Again, all teachable stuff in that weaknesses list. Everything I saw from Brian Asamoah, I'm going to like. High effort player, the type of guy you want to see on a defense. They showed him in the draft crying after he got picked. The guy cares. He loves football. This is his life. So I'm excited to see what the kid's going to do. Let's go. It's funny. It's funny how when you're young and you look up to these football players, and now I'm at the age where I can actually call that we're at the age where we can actually call them kids. And
Sucks. Yeah, sorry for anybody that's older than us. And we're saying it sucks, but it still sucks. Yeah, I mean, rookies are much younger than us now. Right. And that guy looked older than both of us.
Yeah. What do you think for grades? Let's grade round 2 and 3 as a whole. What do you think?
As a whole, I'll do a whole and separately. So I'm gonna say as a whole I say A+. I'm going to give it an A+ because I thought trading back, obviously with Green Bay, that part was kind of sucky, but trading back and getting an extra second round pick and then trading up and not giving really that much to do so just to get our guy and then carrying a second round, that's insane. You don't really see people trade 2 second round picks in the second round to move up in the second round. And then for you to go get the guy that you wanted anyways, that's insane. I think that deserves an automatic A+, whoever you picked in those other picks. And I do like the guys outside of Andrew Booth. I do like them where we got them, and I don't think we would have got them later off. We don't even have a pick after 66. So we liked them there. We had to take them. Otherwise, we weren't going to get them at all.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to go B on it. I think the trade was nice. I liked the trade, even though the Packers were involved. Getting Booth was an A+ for me at that point. I feel like the Ingram pick, as much as I think he could develop and be solid, I feel like that was a little bit of a reach. I really do. And as much as I like Brian Asamoah, I do feel like that might have been a little bit of a reach as well. But overall, you know what? I'll upgrade it to a B+. I'll go B+. B seems a little low, especially since I said Booth was an A+. But Booth A+. Ingram like B- for me, maybe C+, just because of where you're picking the guy. I feel like you could have gotten him later on in the draft, maybe with that 4th round pick, maybe with the 3rd round, maybe a later 3rd round pick or whatever. But then Brian Asamoah, I do love the pick. Again, I do think maybe it was a half round too early, but with the pick we had, and if you really liked him, you just go ahead and do it. So I think a B+ is a fair grade for the 2nd, 3rd round.
Yeah, as far as grading each player, A+ easy for Booth at that point. Come on, we wanted him at 32. I would give the Ingram one. I'd give that one a C+ or B-, somewhere around there. Because I did see him. I saw him a lot higher on draft boards than what we just saw in there. I've seen him all over. I've seen him in the 5th round, but I've also seen him in as the 4th guard taken, which I think no, because Cole Strange actually went
Yep.
above him. But I did see that on some. It was him and Parham or whatever, kind of like flipped and flopped a little bit. So I think he could be more more value than that. He also played for SEC with LSU, went against top competition and stuff like that. So it's nice that you're getting a player that's, especially at the guard position, that does that. And then I like the linebacker too. I think, I'll never say his name correctly. Asamoah.
I think it's Asamoah.
Asamoah. I'm going to screw that up here on out, but I like him a lot too. And he was, I know for a fact that the Oklahoma fans and stuff like him a lot and look at him as the star linebacker. So I really like that as well. And I think he has all the intangibles, and I'll give that pick a B though. Okay. I think the Dean thing, man, if we would have just picked Dean, I don't even care if he was injured or whatever. Just knowing that you got a guy who's supposed to be in the teens in the first round, and then he ends up getting picked in the third round would have been insane. I mean, yeah, maybe he's injured. He never gets to play a snap in the NFL, but a lot of third rounders don't even get to play a snap in the NFL. Right. So
sure. Exactly. But anyway, so those are our grades. We want to know what your grades are down in the comment section. Let us know. Let us know what you thought of the trades, the picks, all of that. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, helps us out a lot. If you want to check out some of our other stuff, you can click the links right up here. Most importantly, though, do not forget, subscribe to GG Sports Podcast. Catch all of our other content on down the road. We'll probably have a video coming out about the last day of the draft coming up here pretty quickly. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next episode of the GG Sports Podcast.
SKOL Vikes.